The world of junior golf had never seen anticipation quite like this. The stage was set at Trinity Forest Golf Club in Dallas for the 76th U.S. Junior Amateur Championship. But this wasn't just any tournament. This was the moment many had been waiting for, the full arrival of Charlie Woods. The son of a living legend, Charlie wasn't just competing. He was carrying the weight of a legacy, the pressure of a name stitched into golf history. With every eye locked on him, cameras ready, fans packed tight along the ropes, and his father Tiger Woods walking silently just feet behind him, this wasn't a debut, it was a defining moment. What followed, however, wasn't the coronation many expected. Instead, it became one of the most shocking unravelings in recent junior golf history. A dream that began with such promise quickly descended into a public nightmare. This is the story of how Charlie Woods' dream week turned into disaster. One swing, one glance, one silent walk at a time. It was July 21st, 2025, at Trinity Forest Golf Club in Dallas, and the spotlight had never been brighter. The 76th U.S. Junior Amateur Championship was underway, but this wasn't just about future stars. It was about one name, Charlie Woods. At just 15, Charlie had already carved out buzz in the junior golf world. Fresh off a gritty playoff win in Coral Springs to qualify, he had proven he could perform under pressure. Analysts hailed him as a wild card with serious upside, with Golf Monthly noting his rapid form development. As he stepped onto the first tee, dozens of reporters crowded behind the ropes, a sea of phones raised, and TV cameras locked in. But the most striking image was behind him, Tiger Woods, arms folded, hat low, and dead silent. Charlie wasn't just a competitor. He was a symbol of legacy, of expectation, and of the haunting question, can greatness be inherited? With the golf world watching, Charlie began his campaign not as a kid playing golf, but as the heir to a dynasty. What followed in the opening round stunned even the most seasoned golf observers. After weeks of building momentum, Charlie Woods imploded. His first-round scorecard read like a nightmare, an 81, 11 over par. That tied him for 242nd out of 264 players. It wasn't just a rough day, it was a full-blown collapse. From the very first hole, Charlie looked unsettled. Drives went wide left or faded weakly to the right. Approach shots found bunkers or thick rough. By the fifth hole, what began as a few errant swings had snowballed into an avalanche of bogeys and double bogeys. The scoreboard didn't lie, and neither did the silence of the gallery. The buzz that had once followed him turned to whispers. On a course built to test the best juniors in America, Charlie's round quickly veered off course and never recovered. Analysts immediately began to dissect the collapse. How could a player with so much potential and so much preparation fall apart this quickly? The answer, it seemed, wasn't technical. It was emotional, psychological, and heavy. Charlie's technical breakdown was painfully evident. Of the 14 fairways he faced, he only hit 3. That statistic alone placed him near the very bottom of the field. When you're playing a championship-caliber course like Trinity Forest, every missed fairway is a setup for disaster. He began nearly every hole from a compromised position, buried in the rough, behind trees, or with no clean angle to the green. The driver, often a junior's best friend, had become his biggest liability. And when his approach shots followed, things didn't get better. Instead of tight iron shots to scoring zones, his balls often ballooned long, came up short, or leaked wildly offline. What could have been chances for birdie or safe pars turned into scrambling nightmares. Charlie's round wasn't being undone by one mistake. It was the accumulation of missed fundamentals. And as each fairway missed and each poor approach compounded, the hole he was digging grew deeper, with no rope in sight. If the driver and approach shots had betrayed him, the short game offered no salvation. Charlie's scrambling percentage, his ability to recover after missing a green, was alarmingly low. When he found himself off target, the response wasn't a highlight reel chip or a gritty up and down. Instead, it was more trouble, stubbed chips, fluffed pitches, and 3 putts that made every hole feel like a marathon. Each missed green seemed to trigger a sequence of misfires. Poor judgment, soft execution, and tentative putting. On a course with fast, firm greens like Trinity Forest, you can't afford to miss short putts. Charlie did, repeatedly. There was no bailout club in his bag that day. Every miss led to more stress, more effort, and fewer results. The short game, typically the last hope of holding a round together, had fallen apart. And with it, so did the morale of both player and crowd. What once was awe turned into pity, What should have been a breakthrough became a breakdown. Perhaps the cruelest part of Charlie's first round was his struggle on the greens. Putts that looked online missed by inches. Easy 4-footers rolled past the cup. Charlie averaged 35 putts, 7 more than many of the top performers who stayed under 28. In elite junior competition, that's not just the difference between making the cut and going home, it's the difference between contending and collapsing. Momentum was impossible to find. Each time he strung together a decent shot or two, a 3-putt would ruin the effort. The 4 double bogeys on the card weren't just black marks, they were emotional body blows. And each one left its mark on Charlie's body language. The shoulders sagged. The pace slowed. His usual confident stride turned to a quiet trudge. For viewers at home and fans on site, it wasn't just about the numbers. It was watching a young athlete struggle in real time, knowing full well the cameras would capture every painful step. If the performance on the course was tough to watch, the emotional dynamic between father and son was even harder. Tiger Woods didn't miss a single step. He walked inside the ropes, always just behind Charlie. But unlike past tournaments where Tiger was animated, offering encouragement, crouching to read greens, even cracking smiles, this time was different. He was silent, stoic. Reporters from Yahoo Sports and Golf Monthly picked up on the tension. There were no fist bumps, no pep talks, just a father silently watching his son unravel. At several moments, Charlie glanced back at Tiger, not with panic, but with uncertainty. As if asking, what now? But Tiger didn't respond. His expression never changed, even after Charlie's 4th double bogey. And maybe that's what made the whole scene so haunting. It wasn't a coach and player dynamic. It was a generational icon witnessing his legacy flicker in real time. And he didn't, or couldn't, intervene. Despite the disastrous start, Charlie showed he wasn't completely done. On the back 9, he carded 2 birdies, including a confident 12-footer on the par, 3/13. It was the first moment all day that felt like a turning point. For a brief stretch, the swing looked cleaner, the tempo more natural. His posture regained some purpose. And for a moment, the crowd re-engaged. But the comeback never materialized. After each step forward, there came a misstep, a pulled approach, a missed short putt, another bogey. Still, there was something in that brief flash of brilliance. A refusal to roll over. While the final result remained the same, a bruising 81, the birdies served as a quiet reminder. The skill is there. But consistency, maturity, and mental toughness? Those are still works in progress. And on this day, the progress wasn't enough to salvage the round, or the scoreboard. Charlie returned to Trinity Forest the next day with more composure. And to his credit, he cleaned things up significantly. He shot a 74, just 3 over par, and eliminated the double bogeys that haunted him in round 1. His drives found more fairways. His approach shots had better trajectory. His demeanor was firmer, more focused. But the damage had already been done. With a total score of +14 across 2 rounds, he missed the cut for match play by a staggering 12 shots. The line stood at +2, and Charlie was nowhere near it. Even with the improved play, his name was lost deep in the leaderboard. NBC Sports called it one of the most high-profile exits of the week. Not because Charlie was a favorite to win, but because so many believed he was ready. And that belief wasn't born out of hype. It came from his gritty performances earlier that summer. But belief alone couldn't carry him. Not here. Not yet. Charlie Woods doesn't just play golf. He carries a legacy. Every swing, every step, every score is viewed through the lens of being Tiger's son. That burden is almost unfair for a 15-year-old, but it's his reality. His performance at Trinity Forest was dissected not just as a round, but as a referendum on his future. NBC Yahoo Golf Monthly. Everyone weighed in. What they saw wasn't a finished product. It was a teenager grappling with expectation. The Coral Springs version of Charlie, the fearless, clutch kid, never fully arrived. Instead, the public got a raw, unrefined version. And the question shifted from, is he next? To can he handle this? The spotlight isn't going anywhere. Every tournament moving forward will come with pressure, attention, and judgment. But every great story includes chapters of struggle. And this chapter? It was hard, humbling, and painfully human. And yet, there was something powerful in that second round 74. Something admirable. Charlie didn't quit. He came back after one of the worst rounds of his young career and put together a composed performance. He walked back into the fire instead of walking away from it. That matters. Because in golf, greatness isn't born in trophies alone. It's shaped in silence, in setbacks, in showing up after a collapse. Charlie Woods may have missed the cut by 12 strokes, but he gained something else: experience, adversity, a deeper understanding of the weight he carries, and the courage to keep chasing his dream anyway. The dream didn't end at Trinity Forest. It just hit a wall, and how he climbs over that wall will define the next part of his story. He may have faltered in front of the cameras, but he also proved he's willing to stand back up. That more than any stat or scorecard is the sign of something special still to come. The week at Trinity Forest didn't go as planned for Charlie Woods. But in a strange way, it may have been exactly what he needed. A brutal lesson in expectation. A sobering reminder of the gap between talent and execution. And a clear picture of how heavy the Woods name can be. But if Charlie's second round told us anything, it's that he's not going anywhere. The world saw a young man fall, and then come back fighting. His story isn't over. It's just beginning. And while this chapter may have ended in heartbreak, the next one could be the rise everyone's been waiting for. And that wraps up today's story from the world of golf. If you've enjoyed watching and want to keep up with all the biggest moments, dramatic stories, and game-changing highlights, then you know what to do. Subscribe to Golf Facts right now. When you hit that subscribe button, you're not just following a channel, you're joining a community of true golf fans who live for the passion, the drama, and the history of the game. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash that like button. It takes just a second, but it helps us bring you even more incredible stories from the fairways and greens around the world. So go ahead, tap subscribe, hit like, and stay tuned, because at Golf Facts, the next big golf moment is always just around the corner.